Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Um, we got a much needed little break here, after having to play those three tough games, two on the road, almost back to back at Iowa and Nebraska, and then coming home and playing a really talented Purdue team, which I spoke of after the game. I thought we looked, fatigued. So, we got some 2 days to kind of recover. We had a really good practice yesterday. We're going to hit the floor again today. um, really focus on Minnesota and having to deal with obviously one of the not only best guards, not only in this conference, but one of the best guards in the country, in Marcus Carr. So obviously a big challenge ahead of us in tomorrow night's game. And then, as Rose said, it's going to be senior night, which is always an emotional time. And obviously, I've spoken so highly of these seniors and the leaders of this group. It's always an emotional day, an emotional time for the players, for the coaches, for the families. So we're going to really go out and do our best to honor these guys and hopefully come out and play really well for them.
Thanks, Coach. Let's go ahead and begin with a question from Mark Brennan. Tandy and Luce, you'll be on deck.
Hey, Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, I had a couple things. Number one, you talked about the senior class. Can you expand on that a little bit, given everything this program's gone through this year, really unprecedented on a lot of levels, and the job they've done kind of holding it together? And to follow up, do you know if any of these guys plan to take advantage of the NCAA rule that's going to allow them an extra year? Thanks, man.
Yeah, sure. I'll try not to get emotional on the call right now. These guys, first of all, like you look at, Jamari Wheeler. I've known Jamari since he's been 16 years old. Obviously the story is well documented that I recruited him. And what he's done to see his growth from a kid turning into a man and a leader, it just makes me so proud to see his development, what he's doing down the stretch, what he's meant to these guys, this program this year with his great leadership. Again, John Hara, God, what else more can I say without getting emotional? Penn State, this kid, the impact he's put on Penn State and the campus, and I know how much he loves it here. And I hope tomorrow's not too much of an emotional day for him. His mom's going to be here, so is Jamari's, which is really awesome to celebrate these guys. And they did. They've really, they've had to deal with a lot of adversity. It's not just those two guys. Trent Buttrick, who really didn't play a lot in his career, but has stepped in and played some big minutes for us this year. Taylor Nussbaum, who's a walk-on, but has stayed with it all the way through and a big part of our success. And Kyle McCluskey, same thing. That what he brings to our team every day is what makes us good, and just a great teammate and competitor. Obviously the tradition that his family has here. So you're talking about, five guys that are just really, really special and left a major impact on our program. I think Rose said something. They have 32 Big Ten wins over 4 years. They have an opportunity to tie the record, if not break the record, and that's something special. And to see from where all these guys came from as young kids, wide-eyed when they got here, to now being such great leaders and mature men and ready to take on the next challenges in life. It's really special. And like I said, it's always, really emotional to know that these guys are playing their last home game. In regards to the seniors taking advantage of the NCAA rule, we've talked all year about staying present, and that's what these guys have done. We'll talk about that once the season's over. We're going to be here for these guys no matter what the situation is. And once the season's over, we'll take a deep breath and we'll see what these guys want to do and figure out what's the best for them. And if they want to use that fifth year, then obviously we're gonna really support them and have them do it. So we'll deal with that at the end of the year. We're going to continue to stay present and make a run here down the stretch run of the season.
Thanks, Coach. Tandy and Luce, let's come to you. Justin Morgenstein, you'll be on deck.
Coach, as you mentioned earlier, you're going up against one of the top guards in the country in Marcus Carr, who's coming off a 41-point game against Nebraska. However, they lost that game and only had one other player score above 8 points. Are you more worried about stopping him, or are you worried about just kind of containing the rest of the team?
Don't worry about everything. You know, I think Liam Robinson's playing. You know, he hasn't played in a couple of games. That makes him a significantly different team when Liam's playing. You know, another 7-footer that's got great skill that can hurt you inside and out. But Marcus, you know, he's special. He's special. I mean, he's one of the most dominant guards in our country. He's ball dominant. He can hurt you from deep. He can get in the paint. He can get guys shots. You know, so we're going to have a couple of different schemes to try to help wear him down. We're very fortunate that we have one of the best defenders in our conference in Jamari that we're going to be able to start on him and try to cause a little havoc for him, and hopefully we can wear him down. But he's a great player. When you got a guy like that can create his own shot, they're always very difficult to contain. So we got to make sure we're playing real team defense tomorrow night, making sure we're very cognizant of where he is at all time, but also, you know, not falling asleep on anybody else.
Thanks, Coach. Justin Morgenstein, let's come to you. Corey Geiger, you'll be on deck.
Jim, as you've watched John through his 4 years at Penn State, you know, was his development a surprise to you at all? Or, you know, was him gradually gaining that bigger role from, you know, bench player to starter to, you know, legitimate contributing minutes? Was that something you envisioned for him, or was that something you weren't expecting maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be a little honest. You know, no, I didn't think he'd be able to be this good. You know, he came in as a football player. He had a football body too when he got here. And that's the first thing you got to give him unbelievable credit for. You know, him and strength coach Greg Miskinnis, like he really worked to transform his body from a football body into a basketball body. But then once you got to know John and really know him and see him every single day in practice, nothing surprised me in the end, because just who he is as a human being, his work ethic, his drive, and his unselfish approach to do whatever it takes to become, you know, a leader in his program and help the program win. And I am just so happy for John, the success that he has had. You see him now in all the Big Ten shows. Everybody's recognizing him as, you know, one of the better players in the league and a special guy that you want on your team. And it's so true. And so he deserves every single thing, every accolade that he gets right now. He deserves and he earns it. And I'm so happy for him to see how his game is developed. And, you know, we put plays in for him because he's our go-to guy and he can do things for us down the stretch, and really happy for him and wish him nothing but the best as we keep moving forward here.
Corey Geiger, let's come to you. Nate Bauer, you'll be on deck, and then Ben Jones, you'll follow Nate.
Jim, you've talked all year about how tough the Big Ten is. Then you see Ohio State lose 3 in a row after getting to number 4. Michigan State's now coming back. Purdue. What do you make of the way this league just keeps going up and down all over the place all year?
It's unbelievable. It really is. And you know, I've only been in it 4 years. And when you hear, you know, guys like, you know, Tom Izzo talk about how this league is as best it's ever been, and this guy's been in it forever, it's so true. I mean, you know, Iowa lost 4 in a row. Ohio State just lost 3 in a row. Like, everybody goes through this stretch. The only team that hasn't, you got to give them unbelievable credit, is Michigan. They're the only team that hasn't had the stretch like that. It just shows there's no league like this in the country. Like, you know, you talk about the number 3 or 4 team in the country just lost 3 in a row and can actually lose 4 in a row. Where does that happen? Where does that ever happen in a league? You know, like, and I was a big East guy growing up as a kid, but it's never been this deep. And then you see some of the teams at the lower end of it are eating up the teams, or beating the teams in the middle. I mean, you look at Rutgers last night, they were playing really good basketball. They were down 30 at Nebraska, and Nebraska's playing well now and on the stretch. They've won 2 in a row. So it's just it's a bear. And, you know, that's why going into this tournament next week, it's something special. And then, you know, I really believe that we have a national championship caliber team that's going to get into this tournament and make a run at it.
Thanks, Coach. Nate Bauer, let's come to you. Ben Jones, you'll be on deck.
Jim, you mentioned the stretch run coming up here. You got 2 games and then the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, you're going to want to play your best basketball here. What, in your opinion, does that look like? Like, if you could pick and choose from this season, what is Penn State's best basketball?
You know what? It's when we're really connected. It's when we're guarding 5 guys as one. We're flying around the court. You know, we're turning people over. We're playing a really unselfish basketball. We're letting the ball find a shot, playing with our pace and tempo, you know, having an inside-outside threat. I think that's what we're envisioning. We've had games and we've had stretches where we've been dynamic that way, and that's what we're going to need to do. And I really feel like, that's why we really had to catch our breath this weekend, try to get a little healthier, get some bumps and bruises cleaned up, get some rest so that we can really come out and play our best basketball down the stretch here.
Thanks, Coach. Ben, let's come over to you.
Jim, I know you guys are present at all times, but I imagine that it is hard in a basketball building right now to go that absolutely nothing could be different 8 or 9 or 10 days from now. How do you kind of manage the emotions of not only the potential end of the season, but sort of everything that can follow with that? Is it something that you even talk to these guys about? How do you kind of navigate that as a group?
You know what? I met with them Sunday and we talked about, we've done such a good job of staying present and caring about ourselves as a team and being unselfish, that it's going to show great character of who we are, that we're able to do it all the way through. And now that there's, 2 more games in the tournament, like, let's all just keep staying together and working for each other, and staying present. I think that's the best thing for this group to do. And then, as the leader of the group and the older guy in a group, you can't focus on what you can't control. And we really can't control what's going to happen in 8, 10, 4 days from now. So let's focus on who we are, what we do, and the rest of the stuff will take care of itself. And then, we've held true to it. When the season's over, we will figure out what's going on, and then we'll speak about it and deal with it. But, right now, these guys have done such a great job of it, all of us, that why not do it right now over the stretch run? And I think this group has shown really great maturity and leadership, and I don't anticipate it fraying at all.
Thanks, Coach. Nate Bauer, let's come back to you.
This might or might not piggyback on that, but what is the morale? Like, what can you gauge how you guys feel internally right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were really disappointed after the Purdue game. We played a good game at Iowa. We played a good game at Nebraska, came up with a good win. And that's why I said it looked like really fatigued, that third game in the week with all the travel. But Nate, I mean, I know you guys can't, but if you were to come to practices and see, we're flying around the place, man. There's great, Rose can talk about it. There's great enthusiasm. There's great energy. I said it the other day, you can't tell if it's the first day of practice. We're flying around and the morale's good, man. The guys are fighting for each other. They know it's a special league. They know it's challenging. And we still have opportunity ahead of us. And that's what we keep playing for. Now it's playing for the seniors. Like it's been really awesome. And like I said, I wish I could have you guys in it because you could really see that these guys are playing for each other, and it's the love that we have for each other, and it's for the love of the game. So, I'm really proud of that because I've heard of other programs where a coach is like, man, I wish it was over. I hate practice now. It's not like that at all, man. It's high energy and excitement. And like I said, I'm really proud of that.
Ben Jones, let's come to you. And if that is going to be our last question, we'll wrap it up. Send you guys to the waiting room while we get John and Jamari ready.
There are probably a handful of games that Lamar would have liked to have had back, but I think senior night was probably near the top of the list for how it went for him last year. Is there anything that you can glean from that in terms of how Jamari or John sort of approached that kind of night and everything that comes with it?
I've been involved with this for a long time, and there's been some senior nights where it's magical. And a senior that maybe hasn't had the greatest career comes out and has a great night. The team rallies around him and wins. I've been involved in senior nights where it's just too emotional and guys don't play well. And to be quite honest, as a coach, it's very hard to control. I think you want to be there. You want to celebrate it. You want to celebrate the guys, but each guy has different feelings and each guy approaches it differently. So it's hard. So I'm trying to just keep it, I'm a pretty even keeled guy myself. So I'm trying to keep it even keeled for these guys, but yet really celebrate them. And, we're going to do it this year, 75 minutes prior to the game. And that was my decision because I feel like it might be with all the stuff that went on this year, and it could be a little emotional. So I think if it's a little emotional for the players and the staff and the managers and everybody, that we at least have a little time and, You know, if we're all going to cry, we can go in the corner, go cry for a little bit, and that's okay. I cry pretty much every senior night. So I'm going to cry, go cry, and then we'll regroup. And these guys want to play the game of basketball. So if I had the formula for it, I'd let you know. I think it's all individualized, but you know, we are going to celebrate these guys, and we're going to really celebrate them tomorrow night.